Welcome back to Bombastic Nation and Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Giant and I'm back with some more vibes for you. And this one is not so much history or anything like that, but I thought it would be interesting to watch because it says, what's the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you? And as an immigrant living in America, oh Lord, I got 3 decades worth of things that people say to me. So I want to see what other people is saying about this, and I want to give me a little insight and thing because up until like last week somebody said something dumb to me, you know what I mean? But anyway, let's go ahead and YouTube and simmer and see what this is all about.
What's the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So let's set the scene. It's early July and I'm in Marrakesh. I've just checked into this hostel and I'm sitting on one of these chairs here by the pool. So this young couple from Georgia sparks up a conversation with me. So the couple invite me up to the roof, this roof patio thing, to see the fireworks. So we end up on the roof terrace here, mingling with various nationalities, and the Americans are asking does anyone know when the fireworks start? Everyone's a bit confused. Anyway, it transpires that it is the 4th of July, American Independence Day. We're in Morocco. There's maybe 10 of us all trying to explain to this American couple why they probably don't have fireworks for the 4th of July in Marrakesh, Morocco. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Stay tuned for more.
I'm kind of curious.
That is so true there, okay? Because, Americans that are on my island expect us to celebrate American birthdays. Or American traditional things, they expect Christmas to be the same, you know what I mean? They expect the Easter celebration to be the same. They just expect things to be the same, especially if they're just visiting. If they living there, they're kind of used to the difference. And a lot of people who move to certain places want to see the differences. But if they're visiting, they expect to see, okay, where I'm from, there's no fast food restaurants. But they expect to see that, why? Because, hey, greatest country in the world, everybody has to follow their lead. And so when they're there and they don't see any fast food restaurant, they're disappointed. And I've actually had people here told me they will not go to my country because there's no fast food restaurants there. They will not visit it if they can't go to a fast food joint and get a cheeseburger or something like that. So, I catch where he's coming from.
What is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So I'm from Germany, but I've lived in Switzerland for my entire life until 2015 when my family moved to the US. And I spent 2 years living there, so I've heard a lot of dumb shit, but here's the worst of it. So one time I was with a group of people and I was on the phone with my friend in Germany, and when we hung up, I said, "Good night, sleep well." And this guy is like, so he goes, "Why is she going to bed? It's 3 p.m. And so I had to explain that because she's in Germany, she's 6 hours ahead because of time zones. And he looks really confused, and then he asked me if Germany is 6 hours ahead, why did nobody ever warn them about 9/11 happening? This guy literally thought that time zones meant that you could time travel.
I'm curious. That's the dumbest thing.
This dude's been watching too much sci-fi movies. If Germany is 6 hours ahead, why they didn't warn America about 9/11? 9/11 is not no laugh of a matter, but really, dude, really. So I guess he thinks if he fly to Germany, he's going to be 6 hours ahead. Well, that would help you if you're going to get if you're going to ask a girl to marry you. You know what I mean? Hey, honey, I'm taking a trip to Germany, so I could see 2 hours before I ask you if you're going to say yes or no. So that's going to decide if I could ask you and you're going to say yes.
An American has ever said to you.
So I was talking to this guy. We had known each other for 3 months, I think, and we were talking on the phone, and I was talking about my parents, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, I have a question. How come your parents speak Arabic?" I was like, "Well, it's their native language." And he was like, "Oh, really? I did not know people in that area spoke Arabic. Thought they only spoke Spanish." And I was like, "No. If we were to speak any Western language, it would most likely be French, since we were colonized by the French, not the Spanish." And then he said, "Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, It's not pronounced Algeria, it's pronounced Argentina. I had to explain to him that I came from an actual country called Algeria. And then I said, it's like next to Morocco. And he said, where's Morocco? And I said, well, in North Africa. And then there was a blank, and I said, yes, I am African.
What is the dumbest
I tell you what, about the language thing, there's two things that kind of reoccur to me. People said, speak something in your language. My response is, hello? And they go, no, I mean in your language. I said, hello. And I had to explain to them that where I'm from, we speak English. You know what I mean? And I am from this continent here, you know what I mean? I'm from a British colony, and I had to explain all of that to them. You know what I mean? Another thing I get to is like, wow, for a foreigner, you speak really good English. No. You know the reason why this baffles me? It's like back in 1983, America had an invasion intervention in my country. You would think they would know that it's an English-speaking country. You think they would want to, you know what I mean, know these things. I would, you know what I mean? But no, it's like, speak English. I get that. Listen, I had a friend told a British guy to speak English one time. Yeah, you know what I mean? But anyway, let's keep going here.
thing an American has ever said to you?
So my family is originally from Peru. I'm the first one in our family that was raised in the States. And a few years ago, I was talking to a coworker about places where we'd like to live. And I said, I've never really been more than a city kid. Like, I've always been either near or in a city. And she asked me, were you born in Peru? And I was like, yes. She goes, wait, I don't understand. Like, how are you in a city in Peru? And I was like, I was born in Lima, the largest city in the country, and one of the largest in South America. And she was like, oh, shoot, so it's like a real city with like buildings and stuff?
Yes.
I was like, yes, how did you think I was born? And she goes, well, have you ever seen Emperor's New Groove? I thought you were like born in a hut with like a llama next to you. That may be the truth for some, but it's not my truth. Her mind was blown when I said we had cities in South America.
I'm kind of curious. What is the dumbest?
See, I've been from the islands. I always get the voodoo questions. So I remember when I first came here, and somebody said to me, hey, you know, my boyfriend is being mean to me. Can you make a voodoo doll of him? And I'm like, what's a voodoo doll? You know, you stick pins in them and it'll hurt them. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know about no bloody voodoo doll. You know what I mean? And she just keep insisting, you know what I mean? But I realized later she got that from a movie. I live on the island, and I don't know if they practice it as much now, but when I was growing up, we practiced obia, which is sort of like voodoo. Some people do, not everybody. I never heard of no damn voodoo doll in my life, and I try to explain that to them and say, listen, after, you know, I looked it up, that is a Hollywood thing. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody have no doll, and I look at the dolls and stuff, and I was like, there ain't no black person gonna make an ugly doll like that. But yeah, you know, the voodoo question is a major question. Anytime I say I'm from the islands, they want me to like put a curse on somebody for them. It's crazy.
Thing an American has ever said to you?
I'm gonna do this video in English because it's so hilarious, and I just want people to know, because ironically not many Americans know this. So I went to high school in Florida. When I first got there, Latina, Hispanic, I don't remember if I was in a classroom or at lunch. I think it was before the class started in a classroom. And to some people, even though my English can be okay, gringos can tell I'm a foreigner. Oops. So this white girl that was in front of me, she heard me talking to somebody and she asked where I was from. So I said, oh, I'm from Puerto Rico. And then she went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Why? It must have been so harsh for you to get here as an immigrant. But the colonizer not knowing they colonized me. No, I'm a U.S. citizen since 1917 because Puerto Rico was invaded by the U.S. in 1898, but Puerto Rico is not in America. Diablo, que tipa más bestia, holy shit.
I'm kind of curious. What is the dumbest thing an American
I
has
hear
ever
that a
said
lot
to you?
too.
Alright, so I was in Pennsylvania, right, on a vacation. And we were visiting this Amish house with a guided tour and stuff. And at the end there was a little question round where we could all ask questions to the guide. And someone asked the question, do the Amish go to hospitals? And the guide answers, yes, they do go to hospitals. And then the next question is, how do they afford it? Well, yeah, the leader or whatever, I don't remember exactly, goes around 2 times a year to collect money from everyone. They pool that together, and when someone needs to go to the hospital, they take the money from that pool.
Yeah.
And everyone taking the tour was standing there like, oh my god, that's so great, yeah, it's perfect. So I say, well, that's basically how it works in Europe. You pay your taxes, everyone pays their taxes, and if you need to go to the hospital, they take from that money and use it to pay the hospital. Which the guide looks extremely disgusted, and she replies with, that's socialism.
I'm curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So I check into a hotel in Boston, and he asks to see my ID. So I give it to him, and he notices I'm from Toronto. And he says, a lot of you Canadians come all the way down here. And I see a lot of people from Ontario. Is Ontario near Toronto? And I go, well, actually, Toronto's in Ontario. And he goes, really? Huh. Boy, your country's bigger than I thought it was. And I said, well, actually, land-wise, Canada is the second biggest country in the world. And he goes, Canada? No. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can look it up. He's like, no. I go, well, what did you think the second biggest country land-wise in the world was? And he goes, I don't know, Africa? And I go, Africa is a continent. And he goes, well, yeah, if you put it that way.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So I went to Florida, we hopped on a cruise, and I met this kid from Florida while we were on the cruise, and like we became friends kind of. At one of the stops we hopped off, we're walking down the street, I look at the houses and I was like, dude, these are the weirdest and biggest igloos I've ever seen. And he like was baffled. He actually thought that Canadians lived in igloos. He like was like, whoa, you guys live in igloos? Like I knew winter was like the entire year, but I didn't know you guys actually lived in igloos. And I thought that was hilarious because, first of all, I thought winter was the entire year. And this kid fully believed me. And then he's like, okay, like, but if you guys live in igloos, then I don't know if this is stupid to ask, but do you guys have pet polar bears? And I stopped him. I was like, yeah, bro, like, how do you think we get around when the snow's too deep for the cars? And he's like, dude, like, that's so cool. Like, wow, I gotta visit Canada someday. I'd like to apologize to this kid who...
I'm curious, what is the dumbest...
See, I tell you a story when I first came here to this country. I was at a small college. They call it the College of the Kentucky Mountains. That's where I came to go play basketball. But anyway, I was there, and I heard of the locals not liking people of darker complexion. So I was sitting in the student center one time, and in comes this guy with his 10-gallon hat and his chew in his mouth, and I hate the stereotype, you know what I mean, but this is exactly what this guy was wearing, cowboy boots, and he stumbles in there, right? He stumbles in there, and he sees me sitting there, and at the time, there wasn't anybody in there. You know, there wasn't anybody else in there. I'm telling you that. But anyway, no, I could tell he was looking for trouble, because the African-American basketball players had, you know, told me watch out, you know. So he sat down next to me, and I could tell he's trying to poke me, you know what I mean. And a couple of times the N-word came out his mouth, you know, and I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. But then he heard me speak, and right away he thought I was from Africa. He didn't think I was from the Caribbean. He didn't think I was from Europe or nothing like that. He went straight for Africa. And then he said something about Manute Ball or somebody, and that's when I was, you know what, I'm gonna just roll with it. So I was telling him, yeah, man. He asked me what is hunting like in Africa. I said, man, we didn't even use guns. Sometimes we don't even use spears, you know. A lion come at me, I just knock it out, body slam it, sit on it, you know what I mean? Make it know who's king of the jungle. And he's like, whoa, whoa. He said, what about elephants? Oh, man, not that. I use a slingshot on them. You know, it's like David and Goliath, you know. He was eating all this stuff up, man. I was telling him all this crazy stuff. I'm not even from Africa. I was telling him about eating monkeys and eating all kinds of crazy animals, lizards and stuff like that. I said, man, have you ever had a chocolate cockroaches? I was telling him all kinds of stuff. And he ate it up. And he didn't mess with me. He was really cool with me and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because he was thinking, man, this guy's like a real man's man. He's wrestling lions and stuff like that. See, a few minutes later, an African American ball player showed up, and they were like, he started throwing down right then and there, you know, because apparently they didn't like each other around that area there. Which brings me to another point: is the thing I get a lot here, not as much as when I first came here, is you're not black. And I was like, yes, I am. I'm black. You're not black. You know, you're a foreigner. You're an immigrant, but you're not black. And a lot of people tell me that. They tell me I'm not black because I speak the way I do. You know what I mean? I speak proper English. And you're not black. You know, I guess I have to grab my crotch and go, what up, dog, and all that stuff to be black. I don't know what they mean by that, but I still get that even now. Well, you're not one of them. Who is them, man? I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You could make distinctions, but you don't have to discriminate against the distinctions. You could live together in peace. But you know, I get that a lot.
Thing an American has ever said to you?
Okay. I was a flight attendant for a very British airline for about 4 years. So, if you're ready, here goes. So, I was on a flight out of the Maldives. I've just had a lovely 7-day trip there, and 5 hours into the flight, halfway across the Atlantic, I'm getting this call bell, constantly dinging. So I went down, and there was a woman, very cross, American woman, arms folded, sitting there in bed. I said, is everything okay, madam? Can I get you something? She replied, I am absolutely disgusted that I am having my flight with that noise out there. I went, what noise? She said, out there. I went, oh, the engines? She would turn them off. I'm trying to sleep.
I'm curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Okay, I got you. Hey man, where are you from again? Oh, I'm from Bosnia. Bosnia? So what, you speak Bosnian? No, I speak Bosnian. Whatever, dude, same thing. What, you speak America? Dude, relax, it was just a mistake. Alright, whatever. So what type of religions do you got over there? Oh, we have like Islam and Christianity. Oh, so you're like Islam? I'm Muslim or Islamic, yeah. Oh, what's that? Get this. Muslims are the people of Islam. Oh, my bad, man, I didn't know. But it must suck not to eat pork, right? I really don't care. Oh, have you read the Bible? Nah, I already told you I'm Islamic. Uneducated. What?
I'm curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Back in college, I was working as a technical support representative in one of the biggest telcos in the US. One time I had this very angry customer because she's been transferred from one line to another. That's why she's very enraged. But I managed to calm her down when I promised to do my best to solve her problem because she's now on the right line. While I am rebooting all of her system, including her internet, she asked, am I talking to a monkey from the Philippines? Then I was like, what do you mean by that? Of course, I have to pretend I don't know what she meant. And she answered, never mind, you can't even grow apples there. And I was like, you know what, ma'am, I wanted to tell you something. You know, in the Philippines, we are producing one of the sweetest banana in the world. And we're shipping it to the US. You know why? She asked why. Because in the Philippines, only monkeys eat bananas. That's why we're shipping it there.
Yeah, I used to work telemarketing too, you know what I mean? And people would call in and stuff like that, and then they'll go, I don't want to speak to you. And I was like, why not? I don't want to speak to no Indian. And I said, I'm not from India. Yes, you are. Don't lie to me. You're Indian. I don't want to speak to no damn Indian. Get me a red-blooded American. And I got that a lot. You know what I mean? They said, am I calling Bombay? And I was like, man, what yeah you living in? I used to get that all the time, you know what I mean? But, you know, you can't really talk. Like, he got the opportunity to talk to her. I guess it's because of the type of work he was doing. I didn't, you know, I had to, like, ship them off, you know what I mean? Because they just wouldn't talk to me because, you know, they don't want to talk to no Indian.
Thing an American has ever said to you?
Well, I am from northern Mexico, and 2 years ago I was on the beach, I was talking to an American and he thought I was British. I think it was because of my accent. So I asked him what he thinks about Mexicans, and he said something like this. Well, Mexicans don't prosper because they are dark, short, ugly, eat beans every day, and they have no education. So they have to go to my country. And then I said, what? Are you mental? I'm Mexican, bro. There's nothing wrong with being dark. And yeah, I like beans, but today I had lobster for dinner. And I am about 4 inches taller than you. And by the way, I think I am more handsome than you.
Information that you learned that feels illegal to know.
If you have like 6 months to spare and you email IKEA and be like, hey, I think I'm missing a piece of this table set, slowly, one by one, piece by piece, month by month, you get that table for free.
What's one really bad thing you did as a child that you kept secret for your entire life and didn't tell nobody?
Okay, I think that one there with the Mexican guy was the last one on this one here, but yep. People say crazy stuff to each other, man, like real crazy stuff. I've been called all kinds of things. A dirty Jamaican, a booty scratching African. What else? What else? What else? A Jamaican drug dealer. I've been called like a lot of different stuff, man. You know what I mean? I think that the main thing is people arguing with me that I'm not black. I get that a lot. Like a lot of people think, oh, they just don't comprehend that African Americans is not the only black people in the world, which they associate black with a specific culture rather than a race or, you know, a group of people. So anything that's hip hop is black. Anything that's not hip hop is foreign. And I know a lot of people are going to dispute that, but I'm telling you from my experience. And like I said, even up to this day, today's, as I'm recording this, I think it's the 20th of March, 2022. I still get all those things, all those crazy statements. You know, do they still eat people in your country? Do you have a television in your country? Do you guys go to the movies in your country? You know, they really think that I'm from the jungle or something where there's no modern amenities and we just live uncivilized according to their, you know, understanding of what civilization is. My understanding of what civilization is a group of people living together peacefully. That's how I see it. That's my interpretation of it. But their interpretation of it is people living with material things, I think. That's mine. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment down below. Comment down below and tell me the strangest thing that somebody from another culture has said to you. Just comment down below and let me know, alright? I'm going to leave a link to this video in the description. Thank you all for watching this with me. Thank you all for all the comments and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I love reading this stuff because I learn a lot from it. So keep commenting and all of that, alright? You all take care of each other, alright? Cool runnings.